गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Amrut Anubhav, chapter 7, OV number.
What page number?
581.
581.
Verse number 159.
No, 162.
Page 577.
162.
162 is it?
We finished 161.
Verse number 162. Page 580. The mind, by getting attached to the world, by allowing precipitation of memories, by identification, it becomes solidified. And how do you melt that solidified mind? What is our mind right now? What do we think of ourselves to be? What is the basic premise on which the mind is functioning? It is functioning on I am the body. It is functioning as I am an individual. It is functioning as I am a conditioned entity and I am seeking liberation, isn't it? All this is the solidification of the mind. All this is grossification of the mind. Essentially it is consciousness. So how do we melt it? How do we dissolve it? You have to apply heat. If water has become ice, for ice to become water again, you have to apply heat. Exactly the same way. What is the heat that we have to apply on the mind so that it melts and goes back to its original position, which is pure consciousness? It is the practice of meditation, practice of contemplation. On what? Not on the world, on the truth, on the self that we are. What? Keep contemplating on what is self. Keep exposing your mind to emptiness without going to sleep. Slowly, 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 it will come back to its original position. We believe, the mind believes what? The mind believes that the world is separate and the seer is separate, isn't it? Right now, this is your basic premise, that you are seeing me, you are separate to me. So what is the norm here? That there has to be a seer and seen in order for experience to take place. There has to be a knower and known in order for experience to take place. There has to be an experiencer and experienced for experience to take place, isn't it? But what is pure consciousness? Pure consciousness is that, reality is that, without becoming a seer, it sees everything. Without becoming a experiencer, it experiences everything. Without being a knower, it knows everything. Why? How? Because it is everything. Because it is everything. In it, there is no duality. Then where is the duality? In this solidified mind. There the duality is there. It feels as if a block of ice feels as if it is separate from water. But what is the water made up of? Of ice made up of? Water only. So this idea that we are a independent, separate, carved out entity with respect to the world, this has to be given up. And we cannot, by thinking we cannot give it up. It can happen only by way of grace. So, and when will grace flow? It is flowing all the time. Then how do you access it? Think about it. Keep thinking about the spirit, keep thinking about the pure consciousness, keep thinking about the Lord with love and devotion. With love and devotion. And that becomes a way to melt this solidification of the mind, this grossification of the mind. How the Supreme Self, irrespective of the conditions of seeing or not seeing, is essentially always of the nature of seeing is stated in the next OV, in the next verse. Kim bahuna aise vastu bhalati he dashe dekhatai ase apan payate. In fact, the Atma Tattva, always knows itself in any state, irrespective of everything. Expressed in another way, the Supreme Consciousness that I am is always illuminating. It cannot be seeing, just as the mirror cannot stop reflecting. Irrespective of what it reflects. The instruments of knowledge are not selective about what they see, hear, etc., nor do they have any purpose. It is just their nature to see, hear, etc. That means the eyes see, the ears hear. They are not worried about whether they hear good or bad. Eardrum, the capacity of hearing, is open to all types of sounds. The eyes are open to all types of visions. It is just their nature to see, hear, etc. It is only the fictitious personality called the Chidabhasa that thinks in terms of struggling to achieve. What is Chidabhasa? Chidabhasa is the reflected consciousness. So it is, see, this idiocy of ours. We are pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is all that there is. As if this pure consciousness reflects in the mind. When it reflects in the mind, it is called reflected consciousness or Chidabhasa. Then this Chidabhasa as if bifurcates into two, the subject and the object, and the drama begins. And till here also is okay. This is also a phenomena, the subject and object. But this idea that I have a past and I have a future, that I am bound and I am this, all this is humbug. Because there is nothing called ego, there is nothing called owner of all this. There is only one thought at a time. And therefore here the Jnaneshwar Maharaj is trying to bring us back to our original identity. Don't live in an imaginary world of duality. Duality can only be imagined, but it has to be imagined on something. And what is that something? That is the reality. And that is your essential nature. It is the nature of the pure self to manifest as knowingness and sentiency. So what is the nature? this phenomena that the reality expresses. Can you stop the sunrise and the sunset? Can you? It is a natural phenomena, isn't it? Can you stop waking dream and deep sleep from happening to you every day? It is a natural phenomena. To think that I am going to stop something and once I realize all this will stop, it will not stop, it will still continue. It is a natural phenomena. But what happens to us is the individual gets caught up in the phenomena, forgetting the original. That is what is being told. So it is the nature of the pure self to manifest as knowingness and sentiency. The knowingness knows both the sentiency and inertia. What is knowingness? The knowingness is I am, that you become aware of yourself. This is the phenomena. You are pure reality, pure consciousness. When it reflects through the mind, what is the first knowledge that takes place? The knowingness takes place. What is that? I am. Isn't it? And this I am knows both the consciousness and the matter. It knows all the objective world and it also knows the I thought, isn't it? The I thought that appears in your mind, you say, I am going, I am going. Do you know that the I erupted in your mind? Yes, you know. Going where? Oh, going to school. School, you know, yes. School is inert, I is conscious. Isn't it? So it knows this I amness, the knowingness. It knows both the subject and the object. Subject and object are just two manifestations in this phenomena. I am knows this. The knowingness knows both the sentiency and inertia. So long as knowingness is manifested, there will be the gross world. Then the gross world is absorbed in the knowingness. This is going on by sitting quiet, by letting the mind bathe in the light of wisdom. It will get out of the triad of one's own creation. See, this knowingness, this, even though I am using the word I am, but where is this? This knowingness is this knowingness, in other words, we can say, is the mind, which has not become multi-pointed yet. There, the knowingness about you is there. I am. It has not yet manifested as I am this or I am that or I am big or I am small or I am man or I am woman or I am anything, isn't it? First it is only I am. Then afterwards you say, oh, I am sleeping when you wake up in the morning, or I am lying in the bed, oh, I am uncomfortable, oh, I have to go to class, oh, I have to eat breakfast, oh, I have to take shower, etc., etc., etc. Then whenever that I am associates with something, it's as if it has fallen down from its high pedestal and now got identified with some object in order to establish, in order to, that, and that also is going on, not in order to. And it is out of this I amness, this I am, knows how should I say, the entire phenomena that is going on. Just like a tide is a phenomena in the ocean, and in that tide, many waves are phenomena within that tide. Similarly, in pure consciousness, the first phenomena is that of I am, because consciousness expressing through body is a phenomena, isn't it? And within that phenomena is the phenomena of subject and object. That I am then falls down one step further, as if to get identified with other things. What does it get identified with? If it gets identified with itself, it's meditation. If it gets identified with some object, then it is individuality. See? So long as knowingness is manifested, there will be the gross world. Then the gross world is absorbed in the knowingness. This is going on. By sitting quiet, by letting the mind bathe in the light of wisdom, it will get out of the triad of one's own creation. It is out of oneself only that the whole creation has come. The waking dream and the deep sleep world have come out of us only. Where does the waking and deep sleep dream go? It goes back into its own, it becomes unmanifest. Then again it becomes manifest. Can these three exist without the self? They cannot. Can the ocean, can the tide, can the waves, multitude of waves, can they express without the water? It is not possible. Essentially everything is water. Similarly, essentially everything is the consciousness. The mind is also nothing but consciousness. Just like we say, oh, water is as it is, just like we say, ocean cannot be without waves. Ocean is nothing but water, but that water is now called an ocean with respect to its conditioning, but it cannot be without waves. Similarly, the consciousness, the phenomena on that consciousness is the waves of thoughts. And the waves of thoughts are of two types: manifest thoughts and unmanifest thoughts. And this phenomena is going on. So now imagine, in the first unmanifest thought, there is no wave. Because there are times when there are no waves on the ocean, temporarily. And then take the other one, manifest waves. Oh, manifest waves. Oh, which one? Take it appears as two, the waking and the dream. Now, imagine that the first tide that came about on the ocean, when the first tide came, that tide has many thoughts, many waves in it. Similarly, one tide of dream came, and in that dream there is multitude of objects and people and experiences. These are the multiple waves in that one tide called dream. Then the next tide came, which is waking. In that waking tide also there is multiple seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, all objects of the world. They are the various waves. How do you know them? How do you know them? Because they are expression of my own mind. Just like in the dream, every object is nothing but a manifestation of the mind, and that mind is essentially consciousness. So also is true in the waking also, that the whole waking world is also manifesting as waves or as expressing on the mind alone. How is it expressing on the mind alone? By way of thoughts. I cannot know the world without thoughts, isn't it? And what is the mind essentially? Pure consciousness. If you keep thinking like this, everything will dissolve. The, your solidified mind will start melting. How there is seeing going on without there being a seer, without any purpose, is explained through some examples in the next two OVs. Manorathanchi deshantare mani kalpuni vare magate the adhare hide jaisa. Just as a person with the help of the mind joyfully travels in the fantasy land is first example. One can imagine the sights, scenes, smells and sounds of different places as vividly as if one were there. All these different experiences can be conjured up just with this one mind. And that is exactly taking place with respect to waking dream and deep sleep also. It's an imagination. Imagination. Here, imagination, you are thinking and imagining, there it is the phenomena. Okay. But imagination is a phenomena within a phenomena. Ka datala dola dolia dola chi tara honia sphure chokh manonia vismayo nahi. If the eyeball is pressed, the eye sees itself as a bright star, and there is nothing surprising about it. When the eyeball is pressed, one sees stars. The stars are only modifications of the same eyeball. The seer is also the same eye. So a duality of seer seen is created without any real duality. So there is nothing surprising about the self, just as the mind goes to any distant place or the eyes see something which is not other than the eye itself. So in the previous example, we imagined, we fantasized, our mind only imagined something, so we are the seer. In that we have become the seer, and the scene is also our mind only. It is nothing came from outside in our mind, in a fantasy or in an imagination. And similarly, in the second example, when you press your eyes, you see some stars. Where are those stars? There are no stars in the sky, in the sunlight, in the room, but you are seeing stars. Where are they coming from? They are, the eye itself is seeing the stars out of itself. Why these two examples are given? That the seer is seeing without becoming a seer. That is the example being taken. The point is being made. Continuing the thought. Palagi eke chidrupe dekhi zeki arope apanaya apanape kamakaza. Therefore, why say that the same Atma Tattva sees itself or the superimposed objective world? Therefore, there is no point in asking the question as to why and how the pure consciousness can see itself as the seer as well as the seen. There is no reason. The pure consciousness is one without a second. Whether there is seeing without becoming a seer, or it is seeing becoming the seer, this is its nature. There is no logic to it. Therefore, there is no need to attribute any cause to this world. The more one keeps a distance from the world, the more the Shuddha Chaitanya will reveal itself, the more the pure consciousness will reveal itself. Meaning, the more we are obsessed about the waking dream and the deep sleep, our obsession is not with the deep sleep. Yes, it is there to relax. Our obsession is not with the dream, we take it as imagination, but our obsession is with the waking world. In the waking world, our obsession begins with our belief with our imagination that we are this body, that all these people are real, that that birth is real and death is real, and it goes on, and you go so deeply caught up in this whole imagination that we find sometimes unable to wean ourselves away from this imaginary trap that we have created within our own mind. The only antidote for this trap is thinking about the reality, thinking about the pure consciousness. Don't think about the world. The more you think about the world, the more you will get entrapped by it. The more you think about the divinity, it alone has the capacity, the power, the energy, the potentiality to release you from your imaginary trap. What is meant by the statement that the expansion of the pure consciousness as knower known knowledge is its nature? This is explained through examples in the next 4 OVs. So, what is meant by the statement that expansion, this pure consciousness alone becomes knower known knowledge? What is mind? Essentially pure consciousness. What is wave? Essentially the water. Similarly, what is mind? Nothing but pure consciousness. But then why we are calling pure consciousness as mind? Because our attention is on the thoughts, isn't it? Therefore, we are calling that pure consciousness as mind. What is mind? A mind is pure consciousness with thoughts. What are thoughts? They are a play between 3 components: the subject, object, and the instrument of knowledge. The knower known, knowing, the seer seen, seeing, the hearer heard, hearing, etc., etc., etc. And that's how the thoughts come. Can you stop them from coming? Can you stop the thoughts from coming? No, that is the phenomena which is going on. Just like we cannot stop the sunrise and the sunset from happening, we cannot stop the rainbow from appearing. Similarly, we cannot stop the thoughts from happening in the mind. But because thoughts are happening, for us to think we are the thinker is a wrong conclusion. Is the wrong conclusion. And this is where the teacher is taking our mind to. He is saying breathing is a phenomena that is going on, birth and death is a phenomena that is going on, waking dream and deep sleep is a phenomena that is going on, thinking is also a phenomena that is going on. Don't identify with thinking, then you are free. So whether you are thinking, mind is thinking or not thinking, you stand apart. And isn't it true that you are not continuously thinking all the time? Are you thinking all the time? Between every 2 thoughts, there is an empty mind. You are there. Then who is there that time? I am. Be that. But we identify with our thoughts, we identify with our questions, we identify with our imagination, etc., etc., etc. किळेचे पांघुरण रत्ना उपजवी कोण की सोने ले सोनेपण जोड जोडू. Who has enveloped the jewel with brightness, or the gold has added goldness? Who has covered the diamond with brightness? This is its own nature. So also no one has added goldness to the gold. The goldness of the gold is its nature. Is its nature. It is its nature to shine. The sun's nature is to express as heat and light. It has not been introduced from outside. Similarly, when we read the first chapter where Shiva Shakti Samavesh, that the Shiva expresses his potentiality and that potentiality becomes the many, isn't it? Same thing is happening. You wake up and your potentiality, the mind, slowly has many thoughts. It's a phenomena. You cannot stop it from happening. But what happens to Shiva and what happens to us? Shiva looks at it, the whole phenomena, and goes back into meditation. We look at that phenomena and we become disturbed. We become attached to that phenomena. Either we run towards certain aspect of the phenomena or we run away from certain aspect of the phenomena. We create likes and dislikes. We create hunger and thirst. We don't remain equanimous to the phenomena that is appearing.
Sorry for the ignorance, but who's the we apart from consciousness? If consciousness is everything, then it's doing a funny game, isn't it?
But who's asking me the question now?
I am.
So is it consciousness?
Yeah.
Can consciousness ask question?
No, it knows it's asking a question.
Say that again.
It knows it's asking a
The
question.
I am knows that the mind is asking the question. That is a good place to be. That is a good place to be. That is a good place to be. Remain there. So if that is your disposition, very good. That is where we want you to come. That all whatever questions are being asked, whatever thoughts are coming, we don't identify with them. But understand one thing. If we are taking that disposition that I know that questions are being asked, over a period of time the questions will cease or not cease. There is no attachment to it. If the questions don't appear, there is no sense of loss. And if questions appear, there is no sense, oh my God, again again I am asking questions. There is no question of, feeling of inadequacy. That also is not there. We are absolutely comfortable that this is the phenomena happening. What can I do? There's nothing to say even what can I do. It's happening. If you can come to that disposition, fantastic. Maintain that all the time, under all sets of circumstances.
Can I just say
Yeah.
something else? There's in Isaiah in the Bible it says, I the Lord create the light and dark, I create the good and the evil, and I create everything. So once I realised that this shadow eye, or whatever you want to call it, is not doing any of that, but it takes on this mantle of, I think I'm doing this, I think I'm thinking
Absolutely,
this.
absolutely.
And all the rest of it is wrong because I'm not.
You're not.
No.
So it is a wrong identification.
Yes. Yeah.
Because of identification, it says, I am doing this, I am doing that. Actually doing is taking place of it without a doer. Seeing is taking place without a seer. Hearing is taking place without a hearer. Thinking is taking place without a thinker.
But I think I'm doing this.
But so when you asked just now, this discussion began between you and me. When you asked, who is this we? Now you tell me, who is this? I am thinking and I am seeing and I am walking and I am. So that fellow. So the moment we say that, we have forgotten our original position. We have forgotten the divine. We have forgotten the basic premise that we are.
But once you cotton under the fact that I am the false I am, that I think I am.
Then you have exactly.
It's not. It's a funny position to be in, but it's freeing at the same
Yes.
time. It's a sort of
Yes. So the mind is going through the process of subject-object, right? But what is your essential nature? Your essential nature is the one who is watching that this subject-object is appearing in the mind as I am doing this, I am speaking, etc. But it is an expression of it alone. And the examples were given just now before. You press the eyes, you have the imagination. Out of you only the imagination. You are the seer and you are the imagination, seeing the imagination. and you are noticing that imagination is going on. See? See, when you wake up, the dreamer is there and the dream world is there, isn't it? So when you wake up, you know you yourself are the dreamer and you yourself are the dream world, isn't it? The mind itself was the dreamer, mind itself was the dream world. But in the dream, it was becoming so real. We were so serious. We were so different, afraid. We were so much in love. We were so much in misery. We were so much in ambitious, whatever the dream was about. But when you wake up, there's zero value to that, isn't it? Because it is zero value, does it mean that next day dream will not come? That phenomena of dream will still happen next day. Some aspects of that previous day's dream may come, may not come, maybe it is a complete, but the phenomena of dream will happen. See? Now, as you give zero value to a dream, are you giving zero value to the waking world? Where did the dream come from? From the mind alone. Where is the waking world coming from? From the mind alone. In the dream, who was dreaming? The dreamer, who also calls himself I, is dreaming the dream world and getting identified with it. When you wake up, you say it was a phenomena, it was an imagination, it is nothing to be serious about, and you forget it. But do you do the same thing with the waking world?
We imagine continuity.
In waking world, we imagine continuity.
And that's the trap.
In dream, we don't.
No.
In dream, we don't imagine continuity. In waking, we imagine continuity.
So we have to, that's the thing to stop that.
You cannot stop it
Well, no.
because we are so deeply involved in it.
Yeah.
So
we just
if
observe
so,
it.
you have one very good faculty to be involved deeply. So instead of getting involved in the waking world of objects, get involved deeply in contemplation of the self. So you know how to be involved deeply. You know how to be intensely thinking about something. Start thinking intensely of the divine principle. Start thinking intensely, deeply, solidly, without any break. Contemplating on the conscious principle. Only the consciousness, pure consciousness, has the capacity to pull you out of this deep hole that we have dug for ourselves, called the world. And that is also an attachment. It is an imagination. Say,
I can feel myself disintegrating.
good. The- Now, as this is taking place, do not be afraid, because you are all that there is.
Getting back to that other point,
See-
though, when you start recognising, like what you were saying with the thoughts, they just happen of themselves, and the mind just keeps churning them out, and you begin to stand back and you begin to see this happening. It's quite strange. It's not myself. It's not me. That's
The thoughts slow down once you start observing them.
Start observing the thoughts slow
Slow
down.
down.
When you are identified, they tend to increase in their intensity.
it's not very
And the
easy,
mind
is it?
seems to sort of give up, sort of slows down or something because you are observing them. So it doesn't have such a hold on you, the mind.
And you know this technology. When you think of sleep, the thoughts slow down, because sleep is empty mind. The thoughts slow down, the world gives up its clasp on you. Now, if that is true when you go to sleep every night, why can't you recreate that situation while in the waking without going to sleep? So it is possible, because we have the ability.
Yes.
We have the ability.
That wonderful feeling of rest.
Exactly.
As you're saying,
But it has to happen consciously. And there our experience is we have not given up the world. We have only focused on the sleep and the world has given us up. The impact of the world is not recognized because your total focus is on the sleep in spite of the world. And within half an hour, 15 minutes, 1 hour, depend from person to person, day to day, time to time, that the impact reduces and becomes zero eventually. Now bring that about in the waking plane while contemplating on the conscious space, while contemplating on the pure consciousness. Don't bring a concept into it that conscious space is looking like this. It doesn't look like anything. It's empty. Consciousness, oh I am, I'm like this. No, consciousness is not like anything. It is, that's it. Don't create a concept. Don't bring an idea of pure consciousness. Don't bring a form. Don't bring an imagination. No, nothing. And the more we keep exposing our mind to these thoughts, the impact will reduce of the world. So, who has enveloped the jewel with brightness, or gold has added goldness? Who has covered the diamond with brightness? It is its own brightness. This is its own nature. So also no one has added goldness to the gold. The goldness of the gold is its own nature. Continuing, Chandana saurabhavache vedhi ki sudha आपणया वाढ़ी की गुड़ चाखे गोड़ी ऐसे आती है. Has the sandalwood taken the fragrance from somewhere else? Or is it possible that the nectar increases its own immortality, or the jaggery tastes its own sweetness? These are all their own essential nature. There is no cause and effect. की उजाळाचे किळे कापुरा पुटी दिधले की ताऊनी ऊन केले आगीते काई. Or has the camphor been created by whiteness, or has the fire been heated to make it hot? नाना तेलता आपुले वेली गुहाळता घर करी न करिता जया परी. Or the creeper coils around itself and as though creates a home for itself without actually creating one. The creeper goes on growing and winding around itself in such a way that it appears to have created a home for itself. Although it did not intend to create a house for itself, it happened effortlessly, a creation without being created. In the same way, in the isness, the existence, all the parameters of purpose, intention, reason, cause and effect, etc. get totally dissolved. When we want to know the purpose, we are caught up in the individuality. But the river running towards the ocean has no purpose, except that it is the nature to go back to its own source. Similarly, what is the nature of all the thoughts? To be created, to be maintained, and to go back to where it came from. What is the nature of waking, dream and deep sleep? To manifest, to be there for some time and then go back to from where they came from, isn't it? There is a phenomena going on. See, can you stop waves from appearing on the water? It is the nature of the water to have waves. Here example is given, it is the nature of the river to go back to the ocean. There is no purpose. River is not saying I want to go back to the ocean. Because the moment, but what are we? Whether we like it or not, we will go back to the reality. We will go back to the reality. to who we are essentially. But what happens is, what is my purpose? I want to liberate, I want to do this, I want to do that. We create our own complications, just like that creeper creates coils around itself. The mind with thoughts creates a house within its own, made out of its own thoughts.
Maybe it's our nature to complicate
And
things.
no, wait. So, this is the nature of the mind. It's got nothing to do with you. Can the mind think without thinking of the house, without thinking of the body, without thinking of space, air, fire, water, earth, etc., etc., etc.? That is its phenomena. That is the phenomena that is going on. But you identify with that and create a hellhole for yourself. And then you want to come out of it. Because in the first place you got identified with it and now you want to disidentify from it. And there has never been a moment in your life from any time till this moment that you have ever identified with your thoughts. You think, you imagine that you are identified with the thoughts, but there is no identification possible. Because if identification was there, you will not be able to think different thoughts. If my eyes are identified with you, then they will not be able to see anything else. They will only see you everywhere. Right or not?
Yeah.
Think of the impact of this statement. So, senses are not identified with anything. Mind is not identified with any thoughts. That is why so many thoughts are coming and going.
He couldn't care less.
It is its nature. Similarly, we are not identified with waking dream and deep sleep. Therefore, every day they come and go. But this imaginary entity, the individual, he looks at all this. He is noticing that he is not identified. But how can it be so? And starts imagining. No, I think I have to do something to liberate. I think I'm caught up. But I'm feeling this pain in the body. I'm feeling here, I'm feeling there, I'm doing this, I'm becoming forgetful, I'm losing my memory, I'm being judgmental, I'm being too compassionate and the world is not appreciating it, etc., etc., etc. We keep going through all this. Let it all go on. You stand apart. Let it slowly unwind itself down. Whether it does or it does not, it's not your concern. But you stand apart. And the more questions you ask, the more you are going deeper into it. Because there's nothing to answer. How can you answer the I am? You are, that's it. All questions can be only about the world. No, I'm talking about consciousness. Thinking about consciousness as a consciousness is also an aspect of the world only. Remember this. Thinking is the world itself.
Oh dear, what do we do about this?
Absolutely. So where is the whole world in the dream? Nothing but thoughts, isn't it? In the dream, the whole world is appearing only as thoughts.
The same thing applies.
Same thing is happening here also, in the waking. So don't take that, no, I am very wise and this world is there and I have to go back to consciousness. No, this is all just the mind manifesting. You stand apart to the whole thing. If this clicks by the grace, it clicks to us many times, but it has not become steady. It has not become regular. It clicks one and then we miss it for many moments. Then again it clicks, then we miss it for many. Now we have to reduce that missing moment and allow it to click more often. And that's why we come to the satsang. That's why we keep studying text of, the various masters' commentaries. Now you ask. Nothing to ask, good.
Yeah, I want to know why. Is it just the nature of whatever you say that creates things like this Isis person? Or is it the thoughts that they're thinking that are still part of the nature
Is
of
the
whatever?
sun creating its light? Is the sun saying, I am creating the light? Or is it its nature?
And it's its nature
I am
to
asking,
create,
I am
isn't it?
asking a counter question.
No.
Is the sun creating heat and light, or is it its nature?
It's its nature.
Is the nature of the water to be evaporated by the sun and then precipitated again? Or the water says, oh, I'm feeling the loss of evaporation, and oh my God, so much water is coming from there and getting into me. Now, how will I balance myself? Does the water say that? It is ever the same. If it evaporates also it is water, when it pours down also it is water, when it is river also it is water. It is the phenomena. It is the nature of the water. If the sun is there, water will evaporate. Is the nature of the water, does the wetness of the water introduced from outside into the water, or is it its nature? See, is the hardness of a metal been introduced from outside, or is it the nature of the metal? Is the seeing introduced from outside, or it is the nature of the eyes? Is it the hearing capacity or ability, is it introduced from outside, or is it the nature of the ears? And similarly every sense. Now go further in. Is the thinking and feeling introduced from outside, or is it the nature of the mind? Feeling also we know only by way of thoughts only. So appearance of thoughts, is it being introduced from outside, or is it the nature of the mind? It is the nature of the mind. Why does it feel that the thought joy is in my mind but the joy is outside? Because we are in the waking state. But actually speaking, everything is in the mind only, just like in the dream. See, but here everything in the waking state, being the pure state, everything has slowed down considerably. It is already slowed down. Compared to dream, everything has slowed down in the waking state. We have to slow it down further. And that slowing down further can only happen by contemplation of the truth. But because it is slowed down, just like the dreamer was thinking that it is a part of the dream world, the waker is thinking it is part of the waking world. But you know that dreamer can never be a part of the dream world, because it's the same mind which is appearing as the dreamer and the dream world, isn't it?
It's the same mind that
Which is appearing as the waker in the waking world. Now wake up, take that position, maybe some moment in your life you will just suddenly wake up from the waking world. This is a phenomena which is going on. So in the dream, this dreamer was seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, thinking, etc., etc. Every other person was also doing the same. But you, when you wake up, you just know, isn't it? That it is a phenomena. Nothing to be serious about. That much reality we must give to this phenomena called the waker and the waking world, which we are only experiencing, our mind is experiencing at the moment. how the pure consciousness with its potentiality to manifest expresses without effort is stated with an example. So, how the reality, the pure consciousness with its potentiality to express, expresses without effort. How the potentiality of the sun to express as heat and light expresses as heat and light without any effort. Understand what we are saying? How the potentiality of the mind to express as dreamer and waker, dreamer, deep sleeper. These three states. How does it happen effortlessly? Do you put any effort to go into dream? It is effortless. To wake up also, it's effortless. After waking up, there is difficulty of coming out of the bed. But to wake up is effortless. Going into deep sleep is also effortless. Thinking is also effortless. So how this potentiality, this reality expresses its potentiality. Potentiality always expresses as multitude. And how does it do it effortlessly? This is being addressed here. This is the thought. का प्रभेचा उभला दीप प्रकाश संचला तैसा चैतन्य गिवसिला चिद रूप स्फुरे. Just as the bright light of the lamp reveals its presence even if not seen, so also the pure conscious being is revealed by its expression as consciousness, etc. The lamp full of light presents itself before the world through its light. Even the lamp itself is not seen. The light it sheds reveals its presence. In this expression, the lamp makes no special effort. In the same way, the pure consciousness that I is manifests itself effortlessly. This is its essential nature. See, sometimes when we light a lamp, even in the dark, you may not be able to see the form of the lamp, you may not be able to see the wick, you may not be able to see the oil, you may not be able to see the shape of the flame, but you know that there must be a lamp somewhere, that's why I am able to see, isn't it? Exactly the same way. Bring this example, you are not able to see the source clearly, but you know there must be a source of light. Therefore, seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, thinking, knowing, not knowing, everything is taking place. And you are knowing all this, isn't it? You are illuminating all this. If illumination is taking place, you are knowing all this, there must be a source of light. There must be a source of illumination. And what is that source of illumination? The I. I is the source of illumination. And therefore Ramana Maharshi, who am I? Inquiry. Who is this I, which is the illuminator of everything? Without I, can you have any experience? Without I, can you have the mind? Without I, can you have the body? Without I, can you have the waker, dreamer, dreams, deep sleeper? Without I, is anything possible? Nothing is possible. So here, the lamp full of light presents itself before the world through the light. Even the lamp itself is not seen. The light it sheds reveals its presence. In this expression, the lamp makes no special effort of what? Lamp makes no special effort of illumination. It is its nature. The nature of the light is illumination. Similarly, what is that which is illuminating all the thoughts, all the senses, all the worlds? It is its nature to illuminate. And without illumination, how can you know anything? In the same way, the pure consciousness that I is manifests itself effortlessly. This is the essential nature. There is nothing to be achieved, nothing to be protected from loss. There is no need to add purpose to life. If the individual can remember that it is only water, then the dropness will drop of its own accord. The expression of the Chidrupa, the pure Chaitanya, is revealed. So, this example comes in one of the scriptures where a drop is afraid of it's falling from the sky, from the clouds. It has been released, and it is afraid of its annihilation. That, oh my God, I'm going to drop and I'm going to be killed. I'll be splattered into smithereens. Oh my God, how will I don't want to do that. And then Guru Maharaj comes and he realizes that he is of the nature of water. And where is he falling? It could be on the land or it could be on the oceans itself. Hey, you are essentially the water and you are indestructible. Sometimes you will be in the form of vapor, sometimes you will be in the form of moisture, sometimes you will be in the form of water, that is water in the form of ocean or in the form of river, there will be some expression, but you are essentially water. Water cannot be destroyed. Oh really? But I am a drop. No, you are not a drop. Drop is your special manifestation. It is a phenomena which is taking place, but essentially you are water. The moment it realizes that it is water, then whether it expresses as whether it is in a well, in a river, in an ocean, in a tide, in a tsunami, in a storm, it does not matter to it. Fear is gone. It has realized on its journey from the sky to the earth that it is water, isn't it? So, the moment it has realized that it is water, the identification, that its imaginary identification that I am a drop. Drop has a shape, drop has a form. That dropness was given up. It was not given up, I'm not a drop, I'm not a drop. No. It came to realize that it is water, and in that realization, the dropness was dropped, isn't it? Exactly the same way. In the realization of the sleep, the attachment to the world, the doings of the world is dropped. So similarly, here also, in this life also, whatever the journey as an individual we are going through, bring your attention to the I and everything will drop away. The individualness, the idea that I am consciousness as a thought, that also will drop away. You will come to your original being. The Supreme Self has no desire to see or manifest. I say apanayap apana, apule nirikshana, karave yene veena, karitachi ase. Thus, without desiring to see itself, the Atma Tattva is doing so.
What's the Atma-tattva?
Self. Thus, there is no desire in the pure self to see itself. Why? If it tries to see itself, a seer and seen will be born, isn't it? So it is all that there is. How can it see itself?
You couldn't have a desire.
Huh?
Impossible for it to have.
Exactly. It is, therefore it is called seeing without seer. Therefore it is called seeing without seer. this desire is attributed from our point of view. Without this thought that it should see itself, the pure self becomes many. That is its essential nature. It is like some people playing with their hands out of mere habit. In the same way, without any association of desire to create, creation happens. There is neither purpose, nor cause, nor effect. So when we say in Vivek Chudamani and other texts, it comes that we are very careful to mention this word all the time. The Ishvara, as if underline, desired to become many, isn't it? We say that, you must have heard many times. The Ishvara, as if desired. That as if is very important. We think that it is really happening. No, it is as if. It is a desireless desire. Just like the water doesn't desire to be wet. The water doesn't desire to be a river. The water doesn't desire to be a drop. The water doesn't desire to be a well or a pond or a lake or any other form. But it happens, isn't it? The sun doesn't desire to be heat and light. It is its nature. Similarly, this phenomena, you did not decide that I am going to be mind or no mind. You don't desire to be a waker or a dreamer or a deep sleeper. Nature makes it happen, isn't it? Recognize this. So, how can manifestation take place or otherness can take place in that one material called pure reality or pure consciousness that there is? Oh, it is like a manifestation of ornaments in gold. Essentially it is gold, ornaments are imagined on it. But even though from our standpoint we are saying there is ornaments, from gold standpoint it is always the gold only. It has not become less gold or more gold in whatever shape you may put it. From water standpoint it is water only. We are calling it tides and waves or ocean and wells and rivers, but from water's point of view it is water only. It has never become anything else. Similarly, from pure consciousness point of view, everything, I'm using the word everything from individual point, but if the absolute pure consciousness, from its point of view, it is all that there is. The entire multiplicity, the entire variety is only an imagination on it. And that imagination is the phenomena. It's happening. What can you do about it? You can't do anything about it. Can water do anything about appearance of waves? It cannot do anything about it. Can the sun do anything about heat and light? It cannot do anything about it. Can the pure consciousness stop the appearance of the mind, the phenomena? It cannot. It cannot. But because we as individual, we are caught up in cause and effect, and therefore we want to attribute a cause to everything that we see, hear, touch, feel, think, taste, etc. So to explain this cause and effect relationship, this cause and effect relationship is a very initial steps. It is cause and effect is only at the level of mind. And mind wants to understand. It wants to question, it wants to understand. So to satisfy, to quieten that mind, a theory is given. the reality as if desired to experience itself, so it became many. And the first manifestation of that pure consciousness was Ishvara and Prakriti. Then Ishvara as if desired, and the potentiality, this we saw in this as Shiva and Shakti. Huh? Then that Shakti became many. But because this story is given does not mean that anything has happened. The reality is still complete as it was before this phenomena of multiplicity came, or the multiplicity got dissolved. Reality is still as it is. Take it subjectively, the phenomena of waking, dream and deep sleeps comes and goes. Is there any loss in you or any addition in you because of waking, dream and deep sleep? From childhood till today, every day there has been a waking, dream and deep sleeper come and gone. But do you feel the loss? Do you feel the loss of any one of those three? You don't feel the loss of the waker, you don't feel the loss of dreamer, you don't feel the loss of deep sleeper. You appreciate, yeah, good, I went to sleep, otherwise I won't be fresh next morning. And you want to wake up also. But this is happening. And you know it is happening. But we are identified only with the waking. So the teacher here is trying to bring you to bring you to a disposition where you are able to cognize this whole phenomena called life, which is taking place without any loss to you. Without any loss to you. That is what he is bringing to you. Because that is the truth. The heat and light appears from the sun without any loss to the sun. The wetness appears in the water without any loss to the waters. The ornaments appear, the phenomena of ornaments appear in the gold without any loss taking place in the gold. Similarly, the waking dream and deep sleep is taking place in this pure consciousness, or this phenomena of is taking place without any loss to the pure consciousness that I am. I does not become less, I does not become more because of the appearance and disappearance of waker, dreamer and deep sleeper. Come to this cognition, come to this disposition. And you cannot come to this disposition by like a stubborn person. No, I want to get there, I want to get. No, it has to be a cool disposition. You have to be absolutely laid back. There should be no intensity of thought in your mind, because if there is intensity of thought, every thought has an action and reaction. It is not this what disposition that we are talking about, it is not at the level of mind. You may use the mind, but it is beyond the mind. You are that. It is like some people playing with their own hands out of mere habit. Similarly, the reality, the pure consciousness is playing with itself. Just like the water is playing with itself to become many waves. In the same way, without any association of desire to create, creation happens. Without any desire to create. That which is one without a second, that which is complete, that which is always existing, that which is all knowing, that which is ever blissful, there is nothing else other than it. What will it desire of? Desire is always for something other than you, something other. But from the reality's point of view, everything it alone is. So how can it desire anything? Can water desire a wave? It is also water. This is a very, very fine contemplation. Only you have to just appreciate it, that's it. That water cannot desire a wave, yet wave appears. It is a creationless creation. Mud does not desire a pot, yet pot appears. That is a bit gross example.
When thoughts just come and go, come and go, come and go in the mind, what exactly is it that gives meaning to them?
Nothing. You attribute meaning to it. So without any association or desire to create, creation happens. There is neither purpose nor cause and effect. So there is no purpose to this creation, there is no cause and effect in this creation, there is no creator of this creation, there is no desirer of this creation. It is just happening. It's just happening. If we can come to this disposition that it is just happening, then we are the witness. If we have even one single question, why it is happening, we have come down from the position of being the witness to be an individual. An individual wants a liberation. Individual wants happiness. Individual wants peace. Individual wants solution to all the questions. There are no questions to be answered because everything is that one reality. Questions can only be about something other than, when our attention is on the untruth, then the questions come. There can be no question about the truth because you are that. See? So, this is explained by an example. ऐसे हे देखणे न देखणे हे आंधारे चांदणे माँ चंद्रासी उणे स्फुरते का. The seeing or not seeing never has any significance in the self, the Atma Tattva. Just as the moon has nothing to do with the bright or dark fortnight. Moon has got nothing to do with full moon or no moon. It's the phenomena which is appearing. Same way, full moon, waking. No moon, deep sleep. We have got nothing to do with it. It is happening. Unnecessarily we get concerned. Whether it is seen, present or not seen, absent, that is whether there is manifestation or no manifestation, whether it is darkness or it is light, these comparisons do not concern the moon. The moon is ever present and it is ever the same complete self. Does it ever occur to the moon that this is the bright fortnight or that is the dark fortnight? In the same way, from the pure consciousness point of view, never was there something called presence or absence, seeing or not seeing. Someone asked the sun, "Thank you for removing the darkness." He says, "What is darkness?" No, thank you for giving us the light. Oh, what is light? Sun does not know what is light and sun does not know what is darkness. See? Self also does not know what is existence consciousness. Thank you for being the existence consciousness. What is existence? I don't know. What is consciousness? It will not say I don't know, but it has got, that vocabulary is not there because he is all that there is. It is complete in itself. We'll leave it here. Enough for today. So in this way, how beautifully Jnaneshwar Maharaj is bringing us to be who we really are. He is removing all the cobwebs, all the imaginations with which we identify and concretize our personality, concretize our individuality. The I can be an individual, the I can be the total, or the I can take can be the absolute. You have to decide which one you are. Which one are you? In Panchadashi, last class, remember, you were there? The example taken was Gaunatma, Mithyatma and Mukhyatma. I is the same. What is your definition of the I? Gaunatma is the father, in my case, the son, the teacher, the sannyasi, the brother, etc., etc. This is the Gaunatma. This is an imagination within an imagination. Imagination, double illusion. This is Gaunatma. For Gaunatma, this I, for this sun to appear, mother has to be there. Without a mother, this sun cannot express itself. For this teacher, the students must be there. Without the students, teacher I cannot express. Isn't it? So this is Gaunatma. Then, this is very gross. Come further back, we are going back to the truth. Then is Mithyatma. Mithyatma means that I which is identified with body, breath, mind, intellect. It's not identified with the objects of the world, but it is identified with body, breath, mind, intellect. When it is identified with the body, it will start doing yoga. When it is identified with breath, it will start doing pranayam. When it is identified with the mind, it will start singing the name of the Lord. When it is identified with the intellect, it will start contemplating and inquiring about the truth. But it is still identified with body, breath, mind, intellect. As a body, it will never have questions. As an intellect, it will have all the conscience, because it is identified with the intellect. This is also an illusory self. So first was at a mental level, this is at a phenomenal level. So Gaunatma, the father, daughter, brother, sister, etc., those roles were a phenomena within a phenomena. What is that phenomena within which they express themselves? The phenomena of I identifying with body, breath, mind, intellect. And who are we essentially? The Mukhyatma, the one who is independent of all conditionings, all desires, all thoughts, all roles, everything. That is our real, essential nature, which has never become absent. The Gaunatma comes and goes. The roles come and go. This identification of the I with the body also comes and goes. Sometimes we are identified with the body, sometimes with the breath, sometimes with the mind, sometimes with the intellect. And this, if we say we are identified with this whole conglomerate, whole of body, mind, intellect, at the end of this life, we will have to disidentify with it. But we can never get disidentified with our own self. We have always been one with it. So, recognize which one are you at any given moment. Are you that phenomena within a phenomena? Are you the phenomena who is identified with the body, mind, intellect? Or are you continuously having the disposition that I am, that infinite, continuous self, which has never come and gone, which is in spite of everything? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।